Hi, and welcome to this tutorial on project management and project setup. I will use the example Schwarzenegger data that you find on the website to create a project. And I will show you various ways of getting data into ATLAS.ti. The normal way of assigning data, but I also will import a file, and I show also how to get a transcript, including the associated audio file, into ATLAS.ti via the F4 import option. So let's look at the example data. You have also these two folders on the website, the English only dataset and the English German dataset. If we take a look inside the folder, we find these analytical useful names with the G for Germany, US for US, and newspaper, and for national, L for local, and so on. So think about analytical useful file names and rename your documents accordingly, be it a country, city, gender, profession, marital or living status, and so on. So whatever is useful for your analysis, it comes in helpful later if your data files are not just called interview 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can get the data in via drag and drop, either via this folder, or you can also assign entire folders. So if you have organized your data into subfolders, that might be an easy way to get data into it. So you can simply drag and drop the folder here into the pdocs field, confirm the messages that pop up, and the data are assigned to the project, and you can load them. Another way of getting data in is via the main menu. So let me show that as well. Close this project, don't save, so we have an empty project again. So now I use document assign, assign. And now I'm already into my folder because I have been in there before. Assign data. If that's not the case, well, go to your project folder where you store your data and then highlight what you want to assign. Just as a quick brush up on Windows skills, if you want to highlight a group of documents, highlight the first one, hold down the Shift key and highlight the last one. Then the entire group is highlighted. Then you click on the Open button, which will be in the language of the Windows system installed on your computer. Mine here is German. So now the data are assigned as before, and we can call them up. If you now look at what has happened behind the scene, Atlas has stored now a reference where these documents are stored on my computer. So what I've opened now is a pdoc manager with a click on the pdocs button. So if I move further to the right now, to the column origin, you see a long path. And these data are stored on my desktop, and my desktop is called Susanne, and in the whole battery here of subfolders. If you now save the HU to a different location, then we end up having this long path reference as a valid one for this HU. And this HU then would only work on my desktop. And my desktop is called Susanne, so it wouldn't even work on your desktop because your desktop is probably called something different. So this is not a good idea to keep the HU separate from your documents. What we want is an easy and flexible project setup. So keep this column origin, keep an eye on it, while I save the project now. I go to File, Save, or Save As. If you save it for the first time, it does not matter. And as I have been in here before, it does go now into my project directory. If you end up in the text bank folder, this is the default directory of ATLAS.ti, then please move to your project folder. Don't store your HU file in the standard directory suggested by ATLAS.ti. I like to compare that with your work in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or wherever you work. If you save a data file, what do? You click on File Save, and then you choose a location where you want to store your files, like where you have stored your transcript. You probably not just stored the transcript where A4 wanted you to store them or where Word wanted you to store them. You chose a location. Please do the same when you work with Atlas. Choose a location for your HU. Don't just let Atlas decide where you want to have this file. I'm only saying that because that happens all the time, and people don't even know where Atlas has stored the file. Well, it just saved it. Well, if you just saved it and you don't know it, probably it's have it in the text bank folder. So please go to your data folder, and it's empty because what you see now, it's only hermeneutic units that are shown in this list. If we haven't saved one yet, it appears empty. But of course your files are still there. So I just enter your name, my first project. Please enter a real project name here, whatever your project is called, or my dissertation analysis, but probably you also have a name for your project, what this is all about. Then click on Save. Again, the button is in your own language. And see what happens now in the column origin. Atlas exchanged this long path name with HU path. This means that now the location of the HU determines the path, so to speak. That's what HU path means. As long as the documents and the HU are stored together in one folder, you can move the folder wherever you want. It can be on the desktop, it can be under My Documents, it can be on a stick, on an external drive. You can put it into your Dropbox, wherever it needs to be, or you can transfer it to another computer just by simply taking your project folder along. So this is what you want. An easy, flexible project setup, and the HU path gives you that option. So what I want to show you now is two other ways of getting data files into ATLAS.ti. One way is of importing documents. So these documents are then really a part of the HU, so not as we just did now, we just linked documents. And this is a project set up, I think, scenarios 4 in the book, where that you can use if you have small projects with just text files. As soon as you have to link documents, if you have PDF files, images, audio, video files, if you have to link anyway, you may as well use the linked option, which is assign. But if you have 10, 20 interviews, and this also works with 40 or 100 interviews, or text files that you may have, you may want to consider to work with the import option. I have prepared a document here in Word. So what you need to do is basically you open the document, you highlight it, and you copy its content. And then in ATLAS.ti you create a new document. The option is Documents, Assign New Text Document. You see it only works for text documents. And you give it a name. It's the one from the Washington Post, so I keep with my prefix labels here. US is a national paper, and it's broadsheet. Washington Post, and you could put, of course, put a date of the article if it's newspaper articles, or a short title. Just keep this name for now. So as soon as I accept the name, Atlas immediately opens an empty document in edit mode. And you see that Atlas is in edit mode by the edit bar here. It's now all colorful. If we leave edit mode, it's going to be gray. So now I paste the content in here. So now we have the content of the document in here, and then I save and leave edit mode. This is also recommended to leave edit mode after you're done with any changes you make to a document. If you later make changes two documents, just remember you can only edit RTF files and no doc or docx files, and of course internal documents as well. If you make changes to a document, go into edit mode via this button here that I just clicked into edit mode. Once you're done with your changes, go save and leave. It's easy to just highlight something, hit the delete button for whatever reason, just by accident, and some of the text is gone. Or your computer runs out of power, crashes, whatever, and you lose whatever you have been doing. That's why after you save and leave, that is saving the text. For the HU to store it, you need to click on the save button. So save your HU afterwards as well. Just get into the routine. After changes, save and leave edit mode, save the HU. So let's have a look at the reference that is now stored for this document. I click on the PDocs button again, move over to the column origin, and you see now the reference is embedded. So now we have a truly imported document that is moved around with your HU file. So if you only have embedded documents, you only have to be concerned about your HU. If you want to transfer a project to a different computer, just take your HU file or email it to you, put it on a Dropbox, you fetch it from another computer, and you can continue to work. If you have linked documents, you always have to take the documents plus the HU file. Otherwise, you get an HU with an empty file. I just kind of simulate this now. I just close the doc. Then you won't be able to load the document. So if the documents are not there, then you will see them here in the list, because that's stored in the HU, but you won't see anything here in the editor. It remains empty. So just remember that. Next, I want to show you how to import transcript with the associated audio file. This option you find under the iDocs menu, and with the option of import F4. F4 is a transcription software that you can download free from the internet, and the association points that you set between the transcript and the audio file are recognized by ATLAS.ti, so you can link any text with the audio file and re-listen to the original audio file. In order for this to kind of suit our project setup, we need to move these files into our project folder. So this example F4 transcript folder you have or you can download from the companion website. If you all want to integrate it into one project, where we need to move these files first into our project folder, so to get the HU path and not absolute path references. So I copy these out of that folder and put them into my project folder. And now you see actually that here are the documents and the Atlas HU file, my first project, HPR6, it's a version 6 project. Atlas does create a backup file every time you manually save the project. So the last saved version is always kind of then saved as a backup of copy. The log file with a K indicates that the project is currently open. And for every loaded document you also get a log file. These log files with a K are deleted when you close ATLAS.ti. In case you crash or your computer crashes for whatever reason, Atlas may not have time to delete log files. Then it could be that when you open the HU, the Atlas tells you it's open since 3 days, 5 hours, 25 minutes, based on the log file that is still there that Atlas didn't have the chance to delete. So log files you can safely delete. So if you get a message like that Atlas thinks that file is open somewhere, then go into the project folder, delete all log files, and then you can continue to work as usual. So now I have my transcript files into my project folder and now I can import it. go to import F4 documents, go into my project folder. This is where my transcript file is. You don't see the audio file now, because the way it works, that Atlas picks or get the RTF file, the transcript file, and recognizes the linked audio file. F4 does the same as Atlas, or the same principle that's behind it. It links the audio file with your transcript. If you open your transcript in Word, the one you have created in F4, the link disappears. The information is lost because Word overwrites it. So in case you have opened your transcript in Word and the link is lost, then open it in F4 again. You don't even have to save it, just open the two files again, then the link is recreated, and the information is there for Atlas to find the audio file. So this sometimes happens that the audio file is not recognized. The same also, of course, happens if you rename the file afterwards. So name the file as you want to have it when you save it in F4. In case you rename the file later, open both files again in F4, or open the transcript and tell F4 which audio file belongs to it, then the link is recreated. So I open this transcript file now, and it briefly has probably seen it, that it picked up on the audio file you see here. Yeah. Well, I've done some stuff previously, so we have P12, P15, P16, because I deleted some documents out of the list in the meantime. So if you want to have consecutive numbers from 1 to 15, or 12 or 14, whatever, go to Documents, Miscellaneous, renumber all, and then we start with 1. And let's see, now we don't have a hole here in the numbering. We have P12, 13 and 14. If you open our transcript, then we see these red dots. These red dots are the association markers between the audio and the transcript file. You can also see all these association points in the association editor, and you can use it to navigate through your document. And that works for video files as well. So you can also link video files and transcript in the same way. And now I want to show you one last thing here, that you can listen to any piece of text that you have transcribed. So if you want to re-listen to how it was said in the original language or in the original tone of voice, you can highlight a piece of your transcript, and then you can either use the shortcut Control P or the main menu option. You see here also the shortcut listed in case you forgot, and I click on Play Selected Text, and it will now pick up on the highlighted text.
Hat es sich angeboten, auch Interviews zu machen. Ich habe also auch eine Fragebogenstudie zunächst erstellt und habe dann noch Interviews geführt, hatte aber eigentlich noch gar keine Ahnung.
You have noticed that the text that was applied didn't immediately start with ich. It picked up on a few words before that. That is related to the distance of these association marks. So the closer they are, the better is the synchronization. That's why I recommend to set timestamps after every kind of half sentence that you can transcribe. You probably won't listen to an entire paragraph and transcribe. F4 inserts automatically a timestamp after every paragraph, so every time you hit enter. It's the same as in Atlas. You can also transcribe in Atlas. It's the F8 key to set timestamps in F4 as in ATLAS.ti. So set them as frequently as you stop your recording. Anyways, then you get a good synchronization. One thing we need to look at here still is the way these F4 documents are referenced. Yeah, so here are the two documents, the transcript and the audio file. and the F4 documents are imported, so they are embedded documents. And as I've previously moved the transcript and the audio file in my project folder, it immediately creates the HU pass. So think about that. If you continuously add documents to a project, move these files first into a project folder and then assign them. Or in that case, if you import F4 documents, remember to move the transcript and the audio file into a project folder before you import it, so you get the HU pass also for your audio file. So now let me save the project again. It's always a good idea to, every time you think about it, just click on this little Save HU button, just to be on the safe side. So one last thing you might want to do if you set up a project is already getting some organization into your document. And that's by creating document families. You find the option under Documents. Always think about the object you're dealing with. We want to create document families, so we click on Documents. We find the family menu here, Add Families, Open Family Manager. So it's easy now here that we want to create, that we want to compare countries. So we create a family: German newspapers, American newspapers. You want to have male or female or age groups, professional groups, locations, whatever might be interesting criteria for comparison in your data. This button here, with this little star, is always there to create a new item. In this case, a new family, but if you also find it in the code manager to create a new code, in the memo manager to create a new memo, a new code family, and so on. So this is always there, and the same icon for creating something new. US American newspapers and German newspapers. I move my documents a bit higher here. So these are empty now. I just created the names and the groups. The size is 0. These are the numbers of objects inside it. So all German newspapers are together because of the letter I have inserted here. So I can highlight the entire group and then click on this bar with the pointer to the left. I move all documents into my group of German newspapers. Then I highlight US American newspapers, highlight all US papers, and move the US documents into the US American newspapers family. You saw that all documents are available again to move into a family, because families are not, there's no what do you call it, clear-cut kind of sorting. So one document can also be in multiple families. So if we created a family, national versus local papers, we have all documents available again to move them into the national or the local type group, or broadsheet, where this boulevard type of newspaper, we may have some other sorting criteria throughout the analysis. That's why it's kind of a variable type function. Yeah, we have German newspapers, American, we have male and female, we have age groups, and so on. The family name is still kept, partly based on traditional reasons. Atlas has code families, based on the idea of code families coming from ground theory. It's a group of codes, and that's why the name is also chosen for a group of documents. And as in real life, you're born into a family of origin, but you get married and you have your in-laws, and so you have your second family, people get divorced, and we have kids in numerous patchwork families. So also in real life, we are members of numerous families, and that's the same thing here for our objects. Document can be in multiple families, codes can also be in multiple families. Just a little preview. That's why code families are not a good idea to create, to use code families as categories, because you can have the same code in multiple families, and so we won't have a clear-cut sorting and structuring of codes if you use code families for this type of work. But there are more reasons why not to use that. So there's a tutorial again also on how to build a code system, where we'll mention that again, just a little preview on that. So we can close this window now, save the project, and now it's set up, and we can continue with the next step, which means coding the data.